Hello, welcome to Summerfest Online 2020. Thank you very much for coming along to view these presentations. Just a quick reminder that we have a number of exhibitors in the exhibitors hall. If you want to go along and have a quick browse, maybe do some shopping, then we'd love to see you. And a quick reminder too about our wonderful sponsors, Yayo Hemp Products and Butte Island Cheese. They're also in the exhibitors hall and they'd love to see you too. If you've enjoyed the show, please remember this is a free event, and if you'd like to make a small donation, you'd be very welcome. Please go to the Friends of VegFest page to make a donation. And a reminder too, we have another show in November, London Online, and in next March, Plant Powered Expo. And you can find out all about that on VegfestUK. Thanks very much and enjoy the presentation.
Hello, how are you? My name is Jecks of Persona Abode Interiors. I'm a wellness and kind living interior designer based in London, UK. So today I'm going to talk to you about 3 rooms to veganise in your home and offer you tips to transform your home to be more cruelty free. So the first question I put out to you is, how many animals do you currently have in your home? And we're not talking about your pets. Because when you think about it, there's many ways that you can incorporate animals, unfortunately, into your home, and ways that you might have not thought about before. I think that vegan interior design is kind of the missing link, or to create that really vegan lifestyle. Often when we think about veganism, it's generally talking about what we're putting in our bodies in terms of skincare and food. But the environment in which you live in as well obviously can answer to our need to be more cruelty free as well. So we often think about leather in terms of a leather jacket maybe, or a jumper that we're wearing in terms of wool, but it's also used in our home in many ways, from simple things as little drawer pulls. It can be used obviously in bigger expanses in terms of wool for carpet, in terms of leather for our sofas. There's many different ways, and also it can be used in glues, which you often don't think about. And a lot of innovation really is needed at this point, really, to overhaul what the interior design space can look like and feel like without the use of animals. Just be cruelty free for yourself and for the wider environment as well. Vegan interior design is basically creating welcoming, friendly environments, but not using animal and animal byproducts. So if you look around any given space, it may be obvious where some animal products have been used. That's in terms of our surface finishes, such as fabrics and our carpets. But there are other animals are hidden into the makeup of our buildings and into the fabrics that we use, and in insides of, say, your pillows or even your sofa. So let's take a look at the bedroom. So the most obvious element that we have in any bedroom is obviously the bed, and that gives you a lot of opportunity to swap out animal products and animal byproducts. So let's take a look at the base. So the base, if it's wood constructed, it can still contain animals in terms of varnish. And we look at the headboard. If you have an upholstered headboard, again, leathers and silks and wool is often used. And then we take a look at the bed linen itself. Wool and duck is quite common. And this gives you many opportunities to swap out alternatives. So what are the alternatives that you can use? So say for a quilt, you can use kapok, or you can use cotton, flax, and that includes the insides of the construction of the quilt itself. And pillows, again, duck is quite common, and the amount of ducks that are used on your bed alone can add up numbers hugely. But there are alternatives out there. So you can use buckwheat hull which is a very common Japanese practice, and it actually promotes a better stability for your head and helps you get a better night's sleep. And over here in the UK, it's not as common, but I personally have buckwheat hull pillows myself, and I can tell you the transformation is amazing. So what are buckwheat hulls anyway, and why would you use it in a pillow? So basically, it's an alternative, and it's literally can last for years and years. It's hypoallergenic, and it's also eco-friendly. And when you're creating a vegan home, a lot of the alternatives can be eco-friendly and be kinder to the environment, unlike when you're using leather, the detriment to our health after it's even made and before it's made in production is very cruel to the makers itself. But the first thing I want to ask when you mention leather and the use using alternatives is obviously using PVC, but that it can be avoided. I don't really think personally that we should be thinking, oh, let's just swap it out for something what has the same kind of makeup and does the same. Obviously, some people like the leather look, others don't. But I think nowadays that technology is what it is, and you know the innovations that are coming out, especially in terms of fruit leather, we have many alternatives that can act in the same way, but also environmentally friendly. And there are also many natural fibres that we can use that can be easily cleaned and are durable as well. So it's not necessarily just thinking about swapping out leather for a leather look. We can look further afield and, you know, make use of cotton and cork and flax and hemp and still create that great environment in the style that you want, and, you know, that works for your lifestyle and the makeup of your home. So let's take a look at your living room. So the living room is a very social area, and we use it in many different ways, and it also is made up of many different elements that are easy to swap out. So if we look at one of the larger elements in the room, your seating in terms of sofas and armchairs and maybe even a beanbag or two, that can use animals. And you can use it in terms of the glue for the construction of your sofas and obviously your armchairs, and also it can be used in the outer shell in terms of fabric coverings as well. So one thing you can do is not go for leather and find an alternative. Now the most obvious thing is probably to swap that out for PVC, and then we raise the head of why would you use plastic instead, but you don't have to. There are plush velvets made out of cotton. You can use hemp, and you know you can use flax. There's literally just no need anymore to create that environment. So obviously couches can also have your cushions, and it obviously has padding. So the padding doesn't have to have duck. A lot of companies do offer that, but if you just talk to them, they can offer you alternatives, and that could be including latex, and foam, which you can get eco-friendly foam. So if you're also caring about the environment and not just using petroleum, then you can also get great foam as well. So you don't necessarily have to buy a new sofa. The great thing about having a sofa that is well constructed in the first place, then you can then upholster it, and you have more ways to dictate on how your furniture is made up. So when you take it to an upholsterer, you can say, well, you don't want to use feather inside, you don't want to use animal glues, and you can find alternatives. There may be a little bit of a cost adjustment, but remember that your sofa is something that you keep for quite a long time. It's an investment, and being as we spend a lot of time in there, I think it's an investment well spent. Now, smaller elements on your sofa is obviously cushions, and cushions also can contain duck feathers, which one, when you put your head on, you often get them pricking in your head and it's not even comfortable in the first place. But there are alternatives. So you can use kapok, which is natural, it's biodegradable. You could also use old clothing that is torn up and shredded, and that's a new alternatives and answers to the textile waste that is coming about as well, which also needs to be addressed. And that's what I'm saying, that cruelty free can also be a way of being more environmentally friendly as well. And of course, we don't have to have leather cushions. I don't think any animal needs to be sacrificed in order to just have a leather plush cushion. There is many alternatives, and say if you take a look at this one, this is pure cotton. It's beautiful and it allows you to have much texture in your home without having to use things that are more furry and tactile like animals are. Of course, as I said, you also have velvets. They're very lush and they can be used at the same time just to give you your sofa that different look. And then let's look at another, is the flooring. Often the most high quality of flooring in terms of using animals is using wool. But wool often has fibre, so it can come off for days and is actually not that great to be breathing in, especially if you've got a home with someone with allergies in. So obviously you can swap that out for carpets, or you can use wood instead, or cork flooring, and cover most of your flooring in that way, and then just use area rugs. So if you look at using cotton rugs, which can easily just be lifted up and cleaned easily, you've avoided using how many sheep that it takes to make a whole wool carpet. So take a look at this here. This is actually a great percentage of wool, and it's great on your feet. But you imagine just in this element alone how many sheep had to be used just to make this piece of carpet, let alone one what stretches from wall to wall. So that's a great way of keeping animals in that way out of your home. But also let's look at paint, because historically paint we had used milk and milk proteins to make, especially for older homes. But now there are alternatives. The easiest thing, rather than just pop into your local store and picking a paint colour, browse the internet, find vegan alternatives, and simply have a conversation with your local shops and find out what the alternatives are. Working with the interior designer can obviously help you too, because they have great knowledge of where products are sourced, and we're not shy in asking the harder questions and finding those answers to whether animals have been used. And that's why I decided to do vegan interior design, because of the labelling, and we really should know what's coming into our home and what we're surrounding ourselves with, and just being accountable as every other industry should be in being vegan friendly. So next we're going to talk about children's interiors, and I'm not just talking about bedrooms, I'm also talking about play areas as well. So I think it's a great teachable moment to decorate and create environment for children, because it allows them to be very creative, but it also can lead you to having conversations, very difficult and not very pleasant conversations about the use of animals, and you can discuss swapping out and being friendly to the animal environment by using different materials for your flooring, for your walls and for your furniture, and it's a nice way to get them involved. So you can talk about why we're going to pick one carpet over the other. You can talk about why going for a certain type of paint. You can also talk about their bed linen. You can really get them involved and get them excited about the design by simply just talking about the way you can be really friendly, and that can match with your diet, and it can also match with your skincare regime, and you can match with the clothes that you wear as well. And that's a nice way to talk to it about children. So you can talk about that wool is not just used in terms of a woolly jumper, it can also be used for your pillows, and it can also use for your carpets, just to make them understand, because a lot of the time children are not necessarily relating where animals are used and in different ways they're used. And obviously as adults we're learning ourselves, and it's good to incorporate our learning with the rest of the family, so you know everyone is up to speed at the same time. So animals can be used obviously in terms of our floorings, our wall coverings, and for our furniture, and also can be used especially in living room areas for the display, say, of taxidermy or for horns and shell. And it's unnecessary that they have to be used in that way. Even if you look at your cups, they even contain bone, because that's where bone china is made. So there obviously we can use alternatives, and it's knowing where to really put our vegan money in. So where is animals used in your home? And I'm not talking about your pets. It's not always obvious where animals have been used or animal byproducts have been used in your home. It's easier when we can visually see them, so that's in terms of maybe a leather sofa or a wool carpet. But it also can be hidden in paints, it can be hidden in mattresses, and it can be hidden in terms of the glues to construct our furniture. So in terms of the bedroom, I was looking at mattresses only a few months ago, and had seen that animal products had been used in terms of milk protein. And I'd contacted the manufacturer of the mattress, and they literally had not given me a fair answer why milk would be even an ingredient to make a mattress. It's totally unnecessary to make a mattress, really. You really can't just have that kind of exploitation. But luckily that was advertised. But often when we look at the makeup of a mattress and we're looking to buy a mattress, we're not necessarily looking in if it contains milk, because it's not the obvious ingredient. And it, you know, your mattress can also contain duck or goose, especially on the top, to give you that comfort. But there's no need. You can use other products. So it's not until we as consumers and designers start asking those questions to suppliers and changing the space of the interior world that we can really make that difference. So a tip for you is not only just to question the makeup of your furniture, but simply, you know, look for alternatives. And if you're looking on the internet, that's great, but it just gives you that time just to slow down and make more considered purchases. And if you're doing things off a whim, you might not necessarily be looking at the material itself. You're more likely to be attracted to when you can get things delivered, the greatness of that company that is offering you the product, and the price point that you can afford. But in just being a bit more mindful of the construction of your sofas or your table, what varnish is really made out of, then you can really make a difference in the bedroom. Not just going for the most durable carpet and going for wool. You could look at the alternatives, and it's not necessarily to have a fibre made flooring. You can go for cork maybe, which isn't as old-fashioned as it used to be. It's not that 70s look anymore. Cork is really coming into its own, and is great and very durable floor covering, as is wood. And if you're going for engineered wood, again, just ask those questions whether animals have been used. And also in your varnish as well, for any natural woods, or if you're doing a bit of a do-yourself job, your varnish can also contain animals. So just having a look, if it's not on the back, doing just that bit of research, or asking in the shop. If you can't do it online, it's okay just to slow down that pace a little bit, and just be mindful in terms of how your home is really made up. Can really make a big difference, and then can match the rest of your vegan lifestyle. So if we look at home in terms of making that statement to who we are as people and as a family, I think creating that vegan and cruelty-free home really makes a point about who you are. Even if you're not telling that to the outside world, it keeps you in line with your diet and everything else you're doing to be cruelty-free. So if we look at our pillows, instead of using duck, we can use kapok, or we can use recycled fabrics, and that answers to the textile waste. Have a look around your home and the textiles that you're not using. If they're not usable and you can't offer them to a charity shop, how about just shredding them up and using for the inserts of your pillows? It's a nice DIY job, little crafting project for you and children alike. Using leather has often been placed in terms of creating that luxury environment, but maybe we should create a new definition of what luxury really is, because I don't think it's that luxurious, the back end of it, and you can create luxury in terms of using materials that are kinder to yourself and kinder to the environment, and for everyone involved in the manufacturing process as well. So if you say for leather, there's many chemicals involved in making leather itself. That doesn't necessarily stop when you bring them into your home, and it doesn't stop when you eventually decide to swap out that product or furniture, and it may unfortunately end up in landfill. The aftermath of using leather goes on for many years, where if we start to use more eco-friendly products and products that are or cruelty-free, then that answers to our health and wellness while we're using them in our home. It answers to after they're no longer in our home, maybe in someone else's home because they've been reused, or if they unfortunately do end up in landfill, they're not damaging the environment as much. I leave you with 3 things to consider. Being wiser when you're shopping and thinking before you purchase. So taking your time. There's no harm in just doing your research first and asking questions to shops, whether online or on the high street, and then making that considered decision on a different day. The second one would be to involve children in the designing of their room, and then it becomes a very teachable moment about the uses of materials and helps them understand about the wider world. And then 3 would be to consider where you're purchasing from and the policies and the ethical stances that shops have in place. Now, many high street shops and independents have product lines that are cruelty